Despite your status as a wandering demon, you have no place in human cognizance. Rather, you conceal yourself from mortal eyes in favor of close observations and whispered temptations. Humans, from your perspective, are interesting creatures. They are ambitious, easily influenced by spiritual beings capable of both good and evil. And what better example than the one who summoned you on the starry night? Such rituals are not uncommon amongst heretics, but most only succeed in invoking the contempt of their fellow humans. And few would invoke your name, much less commit sacrilege within the walls of the church. You sense danger immediately upon your appearance. Within the summoning circle, you take note of your sigil perfectly illustrated in blood against marble. Beyond it, what alarms you is not your sacred surroundings, nor the fresh corpses mixed with your offerings of books and fruits. It is the figure standing over you, cloaked in moonlight, gazing at you with the eyes the color of hellfire. My ritual is a success. Welcome to my humble church. Unnoble Theban. Or would you rather be addressed by your epithet, the fallen seraph, the seeker of forbidden knowledge? A glimpse into his soul is all it takes to strike fear into your heart. Within hell, there are rumors of a small village in Sumeru. Its people are nothing of note, a congregation of simpletons whose lives revolve around the belief of their church. The lone exception is the main priest, Father Zandik, better known as Il Dottore. The stories, passed through human voices, speak of a child ostracized for his unconventional beliefs and his interest in the macabre. Branded a madman, he was placed in the care of the church elders who corrected his way of thinking. Once he became of age, Zandig was given the choice to move out of the rectory or to remain as a priest. He chose the latter of his volition. Since his ordination, Sendic has proven himself to be an exceptional priest. He educated the masses, reviews their theological texts, performs exorcisms, and provides religious counsel for the doubtful. He even serves as a town's doctor, fully gaining the acceptance of his community. The rumors don't stop there, for Il Dottore earned his title by performing miracles. It is he who guides the people into religious ecstasy, he who cures the sick from mysterious curses, he who blesses the weak into enhanced humans. There are the whispers that once the Taur's mortality catches up with him, he will surely be canonized as the patron saint of doctors and miracles. But spiritual beings such as yourself know the truth, that the Tory is neither a kind priest nor a devout believer, that his days in the church only magnified his heretical inclinations. Disillusioned with God, Sandik decided to turn his religious sanctuary into his own laboratory, one where he could fulfill his lust for knowledge through a mask of holiness. He manipulates the people with false teachings. He triggers religious ecstasy with drugged incense. He singles out devotees to test their fate during the quiet hours of the church. And what the town perceives as curses and miracles are actually scientific experiments in which the Tory plays God. It's too late to escape. No matter your divine powers, nothing prepares you for the door's traps. The incantations, the barriers of the summoning circle, an aura so holy yet sinister that it couldn't possibly come from an ordinary religious objects. All you can do is fall to your knees and beg for his mercy. All the while he watches you with a confident smile. His intentions are like that of any human. He summons you to form a contract. In exchange for his soul, he demands your knowledge, your resources, your full servitude for so long as he roams the mortal plane. Your hesitation only triggers another wave of scorching pain, followed by panic as Tori grips your horn and forces you to face him. Make no mistake, the mere fact of your divinity does not make you indestructible. In exchange for your cooperation, you will bear witness to experiments of the same magnitude as God's creations. What say you? You have no other choice. And that is how, in the sanctity of the church, you make a deal with the human named Sandik. Once the pact has been forged, the Tory admires the bright sigil on his chest, plucks a few feathers from your wings, and disables the summoning circle so you can leave. Thus begins your personal hell. It is easy for you to answer the Tory's questions about the divine. The horror lies in assisting him in his experiments, responding to his summons no matter the inconvenience, allowing him to extract your blood, tears, and feathers. No, what's more humiliating is when he uses your body for his research, bending you over the altar and bringing you to physical ecstasy against your will. At this point, you don't know who to pray to. One night, the tourist shows you a secret room in his laboratory. As soon as he lights the lamps, your eyes take in numerous bodies and skeletons of different classification from his usual victims. The extra bones jutting from the scapulus, the amputated wings, the halos pinned to the walls, the holy aura you'd feel from his religious objects. Instantly, the tourist's powers make sense. This is my first specimen. She was my guardian angel. No, I jest. She was a mere messenger who implored me to repent for my sins. From her words, I deduced it had been within heaven's capacity to save me during my youth, and yet God only sent an angel to me after my first act of blasphemy. The angels. How many has he killed? Not even during your fall from heaven did you feel such primal fear for your life. But you cannot scream. You have long been trained to resist fight and flight. All you can do is listen to Totori's explanation. Watch as he approaches a pure white skeleton and wraps his hands around its fractal hyoid bone. He gives you a calm smile. Luckily, her body provided me with indispensable resources for my experiments and my procurement of her brethren. I believe her name was Sore. Just when you think it can't get any worse, the Tory points at the far corner of the room to reveal a space dedicated to demons. Four dead bodies, their causes of death vividly described. Horns, wings, and other body parts amputated in exchange for lives spared after exorcisms. And when the Tory returns to your side, tracing the wound from where he broke off your horn, you can only tremble and acquiesce for it to check up. It grows back fully by the end of the year. He has his moments of vulnerability, however. Perhaps it is due to your nature as a demon, a creature which represents evil, that the Tory does not hide his heart from you. Once, after his usual confessions, he always makes up trivial sins. He remains in the confessionary until his fellow priest has left. Then he goes to the altar and summons you. What catches you off guard is not his lack of greetings. Rather, it's the way he pulls you close to his body, lips ghosting the curve of your ear. There, in the heart of the church, he whispers to you every sin he has ever committed. Despite his normal tone of voice, his words have never betrayed a language so guiltless, so sincere, so human. He asks how much of his madness is to blame on the influence of demons, or he had been born wicked. He asks if humans were truly given the mental faculties to withstand temptation regardless of their circumstances. He asks if the same can be said for spiritual beings, questioning why former angels like you were also created with the capacity to sin. He even asks if praying for a demon can offer them any hope of salvation. It takes you a while to answer his questions. It's just like him to put your emotions in disarray, to make you feel pity for the very cause of your current suffering. Against your nature, you wonder if there is still a chance for Syndic. If he can somehow repent or find a way to save himself for your contract and all of his sins. Even if it's too late, he has always been more forgiving to humans than angels. Do you know why I became a demon, Zandik? Your question is what prompts Sandik to pull away from you. Though his touch lingers, his gaze, as always, is unfathomable. You can never discern what hides within those pools of crimson. No, I do not. Few demonological texts allude to your existence, and only the lesser key of Desred cites your previous status as an angel of the highest ranking. I have made theories in relation to your epithets, but I respect all possibilities. Now, what would you, as a primary source, reveal to me? Now, it is your turn to confess. Seraphim are the closest to God, but for that reason, we are the most distant from His creations. Everything we know of the world is derived only from what He tells us, not our own insights. And so I defied His word and ate the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge, committing the same sin which condemned all of humanity. The tip of your upper wing brushes against Sandik's face, while your middle wings encircle his body in a loose hug. As for your lower wings, they are nothing but twin scars covered in short feathers. After your descent, it seemed like a rational decision to chop them off, broken as they were. It helped that your wings had just outgrown their original purpose. For once, you barely flinched at the sensation of his touch against your scars. Many times, Sandik has inquired about the loss of your lower wings and even asked if you could have them. They still remain in hell, tucked away in the corner of your home, eyes forever closed. It takes a few seconds for him to respond. Do you ever regret your decision? You shrug. It was difficult at first, naturally. Many of my eyes were blinded. Yes, this is why I rarely open the ones on my wings. But those which still functions have seen so many wonderful sights up close. Neither must I cover my face with my remaining wings. And despite being what your kind and my former brethren would dub a monster, I'm happier now. I see. I see. His curiosity appears far from sated, however, a sentiment you can empathize with. As I thought, God is incomprehensible. For him to deny even his greatest creation of salvation, it confirms that there are limits to the forgiveness of that which humans call a loving God. Thank you for sharing this knowledge with me. And just as quickly as he initiated his confession, Xanax steps out of your grasp and dismisses you. But you make no haste, silently watching him after you leave. His expression is thoughtful. A gloved hand touches his chest, right above your sigil. Such an interesting creature. Honestly, you don't know what to make of your feelings for this human. Much as you despise his cruel treatment towards you, he never fails to capture your interest with his experiments and philosophies. Whenever he speaks of God, you wonder if a small part of him still desires to see saved. But that will never be. Sanic preaches salvation with the knowledge that he will never receive it, for the church never taught him how to love. Illudatori never became the patron saint of doctors and miracles. Neither did he have a funeral mass befitting of a priest, nor a peaceful death from natural causes. Instead, he died young, laicized, once again denounced as a heretic by his community. You don't know how his crimes were exposed, and why now. Perhaps it is God's punishment for him, a blessing for the victims, or both. Either way, the Tory paid for his sins on a sunny day, burned at the stake before a disdainful crowd. Not long after his heart stopped beating, his belongings were thrown into the fire. Research, tools, anything which carried his memory. He never left his side. After his last rites, led by an elderly bishop who condemned Sandik as he did in the past, he sat next to him and offered a final conversation. He didn't express any fear nor sadness in regards to his imminent death, merely stating it a pity that his achievements could never be appreciated in his town. He did ask if there is any chance of meeting again in hell, but you reminded him that the punishment of sinners is out of your jurisdiction. Plus, it's better that way. You have no desire to avenge yourself, and you'd rather not witness Sandik's suffering for all eternity. You can only imagine the severity of his punishment. What more if he is assigned to one of the demons he exorcised? During his execution, you stood at the front of the crowd. You kept your eyes strained on him for so long as the scarlet orbs remained open, whispering the prayers for the dead on his behalf. While a part of you felt liberated, another was mournful. You hoped your last words of Sandik gave him solace in his final moments. Rest now, Sandik. God may never forgive your sins, but I shall. And thus ended the life of Il Dottore. In the following days, the church is purged of its holy sinister aura, mainly because they discarded the religious objects tainted with angel remains. You continue your usual obligations as a wandering demon, but the humans you observe pale in comparison to your companion of many years. Not long after you return to hell for your other divine duties. As soon as you appear in your abode, however, something feels off. The sinister aura, the offering of books and fruits, your lower wings gone from their original place. The answer comes in the form of a hand grabbing you by the horn, pulling you backwards, twisting your body to meet a familiar gaze, the color of heartfire. Only this time, those eyes are brimming with pure joy, paired with a genuine smile. Apparently, the tourist soul did end up in hell, but not in the way you expected. In a proud voice, he explains that the devil gave him a special fate. Whether it was due to vacant positions or everyone's fear of the infamous demon killer, you'll never know. What the Tory does confirm is that as the demon bound him via contract, you have to take responsibility and act as his companion in hell. Rather than subject me to eternal suffering, the devil believed that my talents would prove useful for the punishment of my fellow sinners. How wonderful is it for my achievements to be recognized in hell? Oh, I didn't predict such a physical reaction from you. All of your eyes are wide open, and you seem to be on the verge of fainting. You don't know if you want to laugh or cry, to think your personal hell has been extended to eternity. Are you sins enough to warrant such a fate? But after confirming your misfortune, all you can do is sigh and tend to Sandek. He looks exactly the same, with the exception of a few burnt scars on his body, and judging by the familiar black feathers on his person, he seems eager to discard his former religious attire along with his mask of faith. And when Sandek unfastens his scorched cassock, he takes your hand and places it on his unburned chest, right above your sigil. It glows vibrantly, brighter than any light you laid eyes on in heaven, and beneath the flesh, you can feel his heart beating in sync with yours. Tell me, do I still appear human to you? You already know the answer to that question. But fine, I'll admit it. Yes, you always have. And that was Requiem for the Damned, made by jessamine-rose. I would like to give my utmost thanks to her for giving me permission to be able to read and voice act her works. Her works are absolutely wonderful to read. It is very difficult to put down, and I feel like I should give it my best to be able to voice act Priest Torre. If you like the Harbingers and dark content especially, you may check out her blog. It will be right at the description below. I suggest you to check her out and please give her wonderful support. You will never be disappointed. Once again, this is Navina. I have read Requiem for the Damned. Once again, take it easy.